slightly different video than my usual content. It has come to my attention that I should maybe express my concerns with being a part of the SCC. Now, I will say I am not part of the SCC or really associate myself with that community based on the sort of content some may believe. I mainly do content at my own pace and at my own time. Sure, I may get myself involved with a situation here or there, but I only really classify myself as a commentator and not a member of a community. Though, that's enough from me. Onto the more painful of the bunch. This video today will be my experience with the SCC, or at least a certain part of it in particular. Now, before I do go on and tell my story, I'm going to mention a few people in particular. Now, before anyone goes into the comments and says, I'm doing this out of malice, I'm not. Everyone I mention will go by a different name, even though I've been hurt multiple times by certain people in particular. I still want to respect their anonymity by giving each one a code name. I don't care what comes of me after anyone sees this. I've done a lot of thinking before I decided to make this video in particular, so if you want to out yourself, then be my guest. Just know that those I mentioned can likely piece the pieces together. Now, let's begin. I can't really put a pin as to when I really was considered an SCC member, but what I do know was I was really proud of my first ever commentary, even if it was long. Yeah, I made some mistakes here and there, but who hasn't? Either way, I was so proud of that project that I shared it around with a lot of people whom I called friends at the time. Let's see. There was Karen, Heather, Nora, Chris, Bart, and many others. I even shared it on many other servers and got lots of positive reception from it, with minor critiques and tweaks. That was a fun time and all. Then the dramas began. I remember there was a time back in the fall of 2020 where things grew very heated, and a certain group I was once part of, with commentators galore, broke up due to unforeseen circumstances. Either way, it's now a group I don't have positive views on due to people like Karen and Heather. They are people I'd rather stay away from since it's regarding situations that recently occurred with me directly. Though, we can talk about that in a moment. Towards the new year, aka 2021, I have been recovering from a situation back in the fall that now has given me some sort of trauma. It hurts me even to this day, where I still have dreams about said person. Though, enough about that. I want to dive into dramas for a second, since there were a few that I was personally involved in somehow. Let's begin with the known Joshua drama that was happening around March and April of this year. That drama was funny to an extent that I later mentioned to Luke about making a funny video on the guy because we were called manipulators as a joke. Long story short, it later became an actual project we were working on. I mentioned the project to Lisa and she asked to be on board with this one, so I said yes and spoke to Luke about it. If my memory serves right, either way, the project went from 2 people to now 3. After some time, in a few days, the project was done in terms of scripting. We shared it to a server filled with commentators. Problem with that first script ended up stirring up some drama in the end. Well, yes, the first script was definitely not good, and the tryout has effectively made it aware that it was bad. Now, in terms of drama, there's something regarding that drama in particular I want to touch on for a minute or so. The script that I shared was not only received negatively by a good few, Heather being a good example of it, as the criticisms that were given were either a lie, exaggerated, or acceptance at best, thus leading to a bit of a dogpile where the project was almost cancelled. Had I not convinced my partners and talked them through with the project, then it would have ended there. To which I do not support that kind of action, especially in any community. As I said before and stand by now, just because someone else has covered the same material, that doesn't mean it's not fair game if new information is brought up later. Anyways, One thing I do want to say, with how many situations I was already dealing with at the time, plus my very unstable mental state, getting told that just because someone larger than I covered the topic already, so making a video would only cause more drama is very, very degrading. Okay, tangent aside, I want to be able to say I had a good time in the community who thought I was part of it. However, what dramas I had while associating with people a part of that community was definitely an experience that won't leave my mind for a good while. Dramas are not. They are mentally taxing, and I hope that this video doesn't create any drama or no one questions me as to who I speak of. My experience with the SCC as a community may have been short, but it definitely left its mark, good and bad alike. I kept this short and vague as I tend to mainly focus on my experiences with the community. Not all of the community is bad, but not all of it is good. Yes, there's more people joining in by the day, but for the most part, that community just wasn't for me, even if I don't associate myself with it in the first place. Now, I enjoy making commentaries. I really do. I just don't like to go by a label or be in a certain community with certain guidelines. I'm more of a free spirit that works on her own time and at her own pace. I may have only 2 commentaries under my belt, but I try my very best to create more with what material I have on me. It's not easy for a slow person such as myself. Anyways, I think that's where I'm going to wrap this story up. This was definitely a different video, but an experience I had nonetheless. Do I hate the SCC? No, absolutely not. Are there issues with those in the community that can get fixed with improvement? Yes. Even with tensions going around with some of its members, I don't hate anyone, nor do I hate the community. It can always change and improve. I just wanted to share my experience as to why I'd rather not associate myself with that label, as well as my own perspective as to what I saw throughout the timeline. I will still continue doing commentaries because I have fun with them. I just don't tie myself to any community. Now, if any of you have material you want me to look into or cover, feel free to let me know on my Twitter or Discord. If there were any issues anyone had with the story time or thought I was lying at any point, feel free to hit me up with your concerns. And with that, this is a farewell to you all. Stay out of this world, my little Starbits.